All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Oregairu Season 3, Episode 12. Series finale.
We're here.
Show, can you just
We
stop?
survived.
Caleb, it's not too late. We could just not react to this episode.
That's true.
And just the show never ends in our
never
minds,
ends.
right? And we don't have to deal with saying goodbye to it.
Yeah.
Because this show has been...
But it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
The things we loved.
And the innocence of youth and all that. But, this show has been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This show has been really great. And even though, of course, naturally, right?
Naturally.
Didn't get the ship that I was rooting for. I mean, this show's amazing.
I mean, by the end of it, everyone was shipping them too. Kinda. Pretty much.
I was still holding out. Not actual
No,
hope.
I mean, in the
but-
story. In the story, you could tell. Everyone was like, "All right, come on."
That's
The mom was like, "So, Yukino, do you take this guy?"
Whoever this is, yeah. Yes.
No, I mean,
yeah,
Hachiman showed some interest. Well, she showed some interest in Hachiman, you know.
And they were straight up flirting in front of the mom, which was great. Yeah, Last episode was so freaking good.
It was
as
really
far as
good,
how to do their confession, it was amazing. It was wonderful. It was perfect.
And we did get Yui's rejection. I know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rub it in, but that was
just
a really
little
big.
bit.
No. That was a really big moment for her character, and it to be so straightforward was really good. But now the epilogue, the final episode. Will there be drama? Will it all be wholesome happiness?
Yeah.
Will Iroha give her thumbs up of nice Hachiman, you know,
or just whisper to Yukino, be like, well, he's at this school, you know. He's not safe.
I'm happy for you too, you know. I'm glad. And then also our blonde boy giving maybe even 2 thumbs up, you know.
Well, and also just the whole idea of, okay, they were worried about the three of them and their friendship and stuff getting sort of sundered as a result of when this kind of thing happens.
Can we have something genuine?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe this is where we see that in the aftermath, they're all going to be okay. And then please give us some wholesome, sweet stuff too.
Yes, please do. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Alright, that was the perfect way to end it with Yui
this
there.
was, I gotta say,
that was perfect.
So
Hachiman's little meta thing of of course, this was expected. Yep.
Well, and okay, I wanna take this opportunity now that the show is over to talk about some concerns that I had, when with the whole thing of but I wasn't sure how to address them because I knew that I was very much biased in that I wanted Yui to be the end girl, right?
Right.
And that's that. Love triangles are just really hard to do, right? They're really tough. And how do you make it so that it really feels like a satisfying resolution for characters on both sides? And as we got closer and closer to the end of the series, I was wondering how they were going to do the whole idea of the confession between and the confession and the rejection. I was like, okay, that I like that, right? And when we got Yui's rejection, that was really good, right? But there was this part of me that was like, but has she still said the things that she needs to say, right? And she hadn't, right? And that's why this scene was so important, because then it's the love confession hand in hand with the
But what I want is
for us to be friends forever. And that's something that of course it doesn't get resolved by the end of the show. The resolution is that they are going to be working on that moving forward, because of course they are, right? And that's the true victory, because now it's been fully talked about, right? So it's yes.
There's something so beautiful about it, because it's a positive response to the love confession. It's in some ways saying that they responded to her confession positively, saying, all right, yes, we love you too. It's so good.
I feel like in high school or just when you're young, it doesn't necessarily have to be high school, but when you're young, it's very easy to to think that a lack of reciprocation is automatically like a bad thing or a negative thing, right? And of course it's not what you want. So there's that pain to it, right? But that doesn't mean that the other person has a negative response to your feelings.
Correct,
right?
Yeah.
And the way they handled that here was just so good, so good.
And this episode was a gigantic ball of fan service too, in that we got to have Yukino and
taking the
Hachiman
picture
just
together and
having adorable date times and awkward, fluffy, cute conversations and stuff. And then they went into full organization mode for, hey, let's actually legitimately try to show off what we're capable of with this prom here. It's not just a thing of where we're proving something to Yukino's mom, although that does actually have some real bearing on what they're doing here. But also, like, this is for us.
Right. Let's have a great time.
We can really get something out of this, and it's gonna be really special. And the fact that these two, Yukino and Hachiman, have a lot of talent if you put them together.
I thought you were going to say Kamachi and Iroha, but yes, that
we can
works
talk
too.
about their power levels, but that's a whole different thing. But I loved that we get in some ways just the happiness of having all these people here, and they kind of rapidly cover a couple things that are really, I would say, quickly. I'm like really emphasizing how quickly they kind of bring them up and then move on.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of tell that this is a story with a bit of an open ending.
Yes.
Their
story continues and
it's not meant to close off everyone's story by the end of it. It is meant to close off the romantic comedy snafu.
Right, exactly.
Teenage romantic comedy snafu.
Yeah. And not that, say, Iroha and Yui's feelings for Hachiman will necessarily just automatically go away, but it's no longer a snafu, because they had communication, and there you go. And as a result of that, we know that they will be able to handle whatever obstacles come their way, because that was the true big obstacle they had to deal with. And as such, it makes sense for the story to end.
That conflict is over.
Right. Well, and there wouldn't be much conflict in the story moving forward unless it was melodrama or stuff that didn't relate to them. So why would it continue?
Yeah, exactly.
And I love that.
Yeah.
If anything, the one thing that is a blemish against this episode as a resolution for the show, this was a joint prom.
It was.
Where was this guy? And I don't actually mean that. But oh man, like this.
He was a wonderful meme. He was a beautiful addition to the cast in general. But I'm sorry, this is the series finale.
That's right.
And we don't have time for his shit.
And we certainly don't have time for Cowrie. Yeah, that was her name. She doesn't get a place in this finale. No. Be gone.
Well.
But we also got a scene that I really didn't expect, and that was with Hiratsuka Sensei.
Yes.
And that was a wonderful coming full circle, which it totally makes sense, because she was kind of the first character introduced other than Hachiman, right? It's the I realized that I'm taking you under my wing, right? I will try and teach you stuff and all that, and the fact that she was like saying some of his stuff back to him, that was awesome. Because one, it's the whole embarrassing thing of like, I actually said that, and it shows how much Hachiman has grown. But the fact that she remembers that stuff, because there's the I want to show to you how much you've grown, right? And also the bit of teasing, which is all good fun and stuff. But it also goes to show that even back then, I was genuinely listening to the things that you were saying. I wasn't just blowing it off. Now, while it's possible that she could have gone through like past assignments and like searched up some choice phrases and stuff, totally. But she really cared about you, dude.
Yeah. She read that paper.
Exactly.
That extremely what would have been like a harsh take.
So 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But just the fact that was kept after all this time is just is really special. Yeah.
Now the part when they stumbled, and that scared me for a bit, because I was like,
oh, that was her joking with him intentionally. She stepped on his foot, like,
to
mess with him.
Sure. And it's also something where that it's that kind of meta joke of like, oh wait, is there going to be no, of course there's not. Of course not. You know, it's like, oh, whoops, sorry about that. Yeah. And then it's that setup for the awesome reaching out the hand.
Right. That's all she wanted to do, basically.
Yep.
Was just to have that moment where she can basically give him a bit of a moment where if he wanted to, he could take a little bit of a...
Take her hand and she could help him back up. And that's...
But they also... I mean, she wanted to sit in this kind of position here and just kind of talk about all this stuff of what makes something genuine. And is even love something that can be made as genuine just because it's love? It's like, who knows?
Yeah. There is limitations to the word for sure.
Yeah.
And I really like that... Because, Hachiman at the beginning of the show, Hiratsuka was extending him a hand, metaphorically, right? To be like, hey, I want to help you. Yep. And he wasn't taking it.
No.
But he also wasn't standing up.
That's true.
Here, no. It's okay. You don't need to help me anymore, right? He has grown to the point where he would be fine helping her, right? It's the same kind of a thing that he said about Yukino when he offered her his hand, right? You know, it's she doesn't need my hand, right? I know she doesn't need my hand, and she knows that.
Right.
But I'm going to offer it anyway, and I will continue to do so.
Yep.
And Hiratsuka will also continue to offer her hand if Hachiman needs help. Yeah. But he's learned his lesson. You've taught him a lot. He doesn't need to. He can stand just fine. And
then he's also willing to just be like, hey, no.
Yeah.
Here.
Right.
Like, thank you so much.
Yep.
It's just so good because she's had like the ara mom energy at times, but she's also like the one that's gonna just beat him up if he's being, baka. But in this moment here, I think she was basically like, hey, you're a rebellious brat, but you're also like my ultimate student in that regard, because look at where you started.
Right.
Look at where you are now.
Yep.
So I'm going to test you maybe for the last time as a teacher-student kind of relationship. I'm going to offer you my hand in that role and standing up above you, the kind of the one that comes in to support. And he's like, no, I appreciate that, but let me stand up and shake your hand properly here.
Yep, exactly, as a peer.
Yeah, as a peer. There you go.
He's a boy's grown up so much.
He's grown up so much.
I don't know why, but it meant so much to me that Hiratsuka didn't just say one of his lines, but said a second one, like in parting, as like a because it's her way of showing that she cares about him, right? And encouraging him and all of that stuff, and it's, I love it. Like she really does have that kind of like big sister energy of like really messing with him, but also like looking out for him, and it's awesome.
It's so awesome. Good. I also really want to bring up something that's kind of an odd comparison here, but 10 years isn't literally the time I think that they start having school in Japan based on what his age is right here. But in some ways it's like saying that was the child, like Hachiman.
Yep.
I'm the man now. Like I've grown up.
Right.
I've passed that. Now, it's not something of where Hachiman was going through like this whole phase of being like a child or something in that regard, but I do think what's really kind of special about that is you can tell that he's not saying this to like prove anything to her. There's times I think when you see someone make a reference to a past version of you, and you kind of want to like be like, that's not me. That's not who I am anymore.
And it's that sort of, you haven't fully distanced yourself from it, so as a result you as a reaction distance yourself from it because you still have a ways to go.
And he's more just kind of mocking it.
Right.
Like,
he's engaging in the banter.
So 10 years ago. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all banter, and thus you know that it's a very, very equal peer relationship. So he doesn't feel at all condescended to or any kind of defensiveness when she brings up old kind of stuff about how he used to be. But Yukino just had this episode. This was the Yukino episode. I mean, just so much of it was her just building up to little moments with Hachiman, and the moment where she tells him she loves him.
No. That is this is in a similar realm to the Yui confession, basically, because it's something where the confession that they had in the previous episode, fantastic, amazing, I love it so much, right? And yet that was the confession of what they were able to do in the moment, because this is all new and scary and exciting and so many feelings surrounding it, right?
They're working together, they're on a team, they're doing this, they're in it. They're in it.
And while Yukino has to preface it with a whole bunch of things of like, oh, I need you to do this and this and that, and there's all these, things and all that stuff.
This is not going to be easy.
Right, this is not going to be easy.
It's not going to be fun all the time.
But
I'm going to be a bit annoying and a bit demanding.
Right.
And asking you to take a lot of responsibility.
But this is showing how she has grown, in that she is not so afraid. I mean, she's still afraid here, right?
Yeah,
she's totally, and that's why she's nervous as hell, and that's why she blushes like crazy and then runs away.
Rapid firing all those tasks and stuff. She didn't even want him to respond.
Right. She was still.
I've practiced this monologue.
Right.
Let's go.
She's still avoiding all the things, like saying everything she can think of other than "I love you," right? But when it comes right down to it, she still says it, and I think that's a big deal, because it shows how she's growing. And then Hachiman is like, oh, okay.
You really blindsided me with that.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Yukino.
Yep.
And then she hides and run away. And he's just like, wow,
escape.
Seriously? Such a pain. Doesn't that mean I have to say something at some point down the road?
and yet he sits down. He's smiling during this. It's something where the old Hachiman this would actually become a serious problem.
This would have been panic.
This would have been
panic.
Like critical alert, like DEFCON 1.
Yeah.
But this is just like, whoa, okay, all right, well, that's probably have to. That's a lot of pressure.
As expected of Yukino.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And I loved is that the part that it's like. It makes her so cute, Like,
yep.
All those things about her. Yeah.
And then when she invites him, she's like, "Oh yeah, my mom wants to have dinner with you," And he's like, "Oh, I don't know, I might be busy." And she's like, "Oh, really? Because I've already eliminated all the potential options." And
I love how she calls him Zaitsu too. She's like Zaitsu,
whoever he is. Yeah,
you can call it off with him. But I also love that we're confirming something that was very heavily hinted, I think, over the course of the last few episodes with Yukino's mom very much liking Hachiman and her together. And this is something that is there are mechanical reasons to it that go beyond just having a cathartic, happy ending where there is zero melodrama or anything like that. Because, the mom saying that she likes him doesn't necessarily mean that she's thrilled about the relationship entirely. All it means is that she's like, I will choose to invest energy, time, and resources into you.
Sure.
Because I see potential with my doing this. That could mean a whole bunch of things. So I love that if they wanted to, that could be, in some ways, the only remaining story conflict left, which is not necessarily the case, though, based on exactly
because the if they wanted to continue the story past this point, I'm sure there would be a lot of fun conflicts with the mom and things like that. But the conflicts with the mom would not be about, I need to split you two apart because I don't like it.
Exactly.
Because that is
how can we make this work?
Right. That is the melodrama kind of shit. It's like, no, keep that far away.
How can I convince you, Hachiman, that you need to get to work with our company?
Right, exactly.
Specifically under my daughter.
What are all the demands that I will have for you, basically, now that you are in this position, right? And... let's negotiate the terms of your unconditional surrender.
Exactly.
Okay.
I loved how, just Haruno had her piece, She's happy that this is all just going. And she dipped out like, I do not need to be here.
And the last scene we got with her is just...
Just work it, that dress. Oh my God. They were just like, let's just have Haruno's ass. Just bam. Just bam. And I'm like oh, okay.
The only way it could have gotten any hotter is if, suddenly Hiratsuka went and like kissed her on the cheek or something, like
I don't.
No, I know they don't have that kind of relationship.
They have that kind of relationship.
But I know there's fan fiction of it. I just know it.
Yeah, everyone. Okay, but then I loved this final scene with the two new
powerhouses of school,
the gods of high school, basically. Goddesses, basically coming to the service club, and they're here, and Hachiman. Wow. Komachi tries to pretend like she didn't run here like the whole way, He's like comes around like, oh, okay, I'm here to join the club, and they're like, oh, and I love she's like, I'm here to join, and it's like, you seem to have info that we don't about why you're here, and then freaking Hiroha like rice little rice girl.
Oh my God,
how are you so fast?
I love how Iroha is like brought up the whole idea at the prom of like, no, whenever girls meet each other, they need to establish a pecking order so that way they don't fight a bunch later. Turns out pecking order was very much established. You're not on top, Iroha.
I think what they conceded is actually that in some point they're both so powerful that everyone else is beneath them. So who cares?
No, it feels very Iskandar, like being like, "Hey Gilgamesh, you want to join my army? We conquer the very stars."
Like, the world.
Like this. There doesn't need to be a sequel for this story because it's over. The conflict's over and stuff, and that's great. But
the great beings of yin and yang have joined.
Right.
The universe is one.
Well,
we have all achieved balance.
But if there were to be a sequel series, they could totally do it with just the
next school year.
The next school year, the next service club. Komachi and Iroha take over the school and the prefecture, and just.
I would prefer a bit of a time skip and actually
after after they've graduated,
Hachiman and Yukino and Yui from the story, because it would be a bit of a disservice to them to try to pretend like we should milk that cow. Basically.
Oh, totally. But can you imagine Okay,
I really can't.
This is how well Komachi and Iroha...
Komachi's Bizarre Adventure.
Exactly. This is how well they get along after just a week or two, of knowing each other and meeting and stuff. Imagine if they got a whole ass year to synchronize their energies and stuff and be like, all right,
soul resonance.
Yeah.
And it's just the amount of bullshit they had to wade through to actually achieve, perfect, pointed, specific power,
it would almost be Kill la Kill levels of just they just turn and do a heel click, and then suddenly the whole school falls into line and is all right, where are we conquering?
Right.
But
they're we must take the domain of Mr. What's his face. Let's go conquer all the other schools.
Komachi's I still haven't forgotten that bitch Kaori. My brother did talk about her a bit, way back when.
Oh my God.
Unfinished
all right,
business.
But with regards to this finale, this was a bit of an epilogue, which I'm very glad they did. They kept things very simple here. There are a couple characters that I did want more out of. Hayama specifically. And we had little remarks from him when he was nearby. We had remarks when he wasn't around. And I kind of get what's happening here is that this is something where, Hachiman found something genuine. So in some ways, he's showing Hayama that, it's possible. Look, I did it. We don't need to talk about it at all.
Just pass his way all the Hayama Hachiman fanfics,
I see. This is the thing, man. This is the thing. I have a very specific set of memories that are tied to key relationships that are like entirely untouched by any kind of romantic tension of any kind. And when you have people that both want the same thing but are so ridiculously different in certain aspects of like who they are as people, you can find connection in that. And it's one of the most beautiful things. I'd say it's even more beautiful than romance or any kind of,
it's another kind of romance, I would say.
I disagree. I think it's just pure, genuine human connection. Romance is actually too much of a box, I would say.
Can't sum it up with a word like love.
Exactly. You can't sum it up with a word like love. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I just love the idea that in the future, at some point, Hachiman's going to ask for a best man at his wedding, and he's probably going to pick Hayama.
Yeah, please God, don't pick Zamakuza. Yukino would be like, no.
He could pick Zamakuza.
No, I don't think he will.
But the real meta, though, he would pick Sai, and everyone would come to the wedding and just be like, oh my God. And Sai would basically distract everyone away from him. And Yukino,
so that way they can just have their quiet moment together,
or just get out of the wedding as fast as possible
before anyone tries to make any toasts or anything like that.
No. You get the bare minimum stuff, but you do not know how frustrating it is for a bride and groom when they're at their reception and they just want to leave and they can't. Like,
you're trapped here.
Sai has this magnetic this charm, this power that he exudes, and I think that in some ways he would be more effective than Hayama.
Yes, I think so.
Hayama is also quite powerful in that regard as well. So
actually, that's a good point. How would Sai fit into Kumachi and Iroha's dynamic? Because Sai is a first year, I believe, right? I'm not sure. I don't remember. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah.
It's not really relevant.
Not really relevant. Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, it's super relevant. This show,
this was a series that I never knew I needed so much. And weirdly enough, this is a story that has the elements of the thrills of the romantic love triangle drama, and yet I do not feel like I could ever get tired of rewatching it. There's something to be said for a romance story that is primarily,
a romance.
I would say also like a romantic drama.
Oh, yes, definitely dramedy.
Yeah, like a dramedy more than just a pure romance story either.
Oh, sure, yes.
Right.
Well, and that's the
it's a snafu.
Right, exactly.
But I know a lot of other romance stories where I have way less interest in rewatching it because it's about whether or not the two will get together. And I think for some reason, I'd have to go back and analyze it, but at some point in season, 1 or 2 even, I was, I all doubt left my mind. Like I was 0% chance. Because I think before it's they have a 98% chance here. Oh, now they're actually down to 90% chance. Ooh, wow, this is some good drama. And then there was some point where it just went 100%. Zero.
It's one of those things where with any kind of romance, right? Really, you could just say that here are the characters. Make sure that the audience is engaged with them and enjoys them.
The journey will be worthwhile.
And then, but then you could theoretically immediately just be like, and they get together. There you go, right? Story over, right?
But you're talking about just the plot of the will they, won't they?
Yeah, exactly, right? Because by the nature of the fact that you're watching a romance, usually that's not really up in the air. Not really.
I get what you're saying. Whether or not is not the...
Exactly. It's all about the journey, and I would say romances live and die by the showing how the characters grow and how they are both perfect for each other, but also absolutely would not make sense, and it would not be satisfying for them to get together at the beginning, not just because you want to see the tension, but because they actually need to grow as people, right? And if you don't properly sell that is an integral part of them, of their character, then it comes across as melodrama, right? And it's just oh God, just, end it already, right?
Right, and I think that sometimes in romance stories, they fluff it up a little bit to slow things down.
Yep.
And I the times when they might have done it did not have the slightest.
I feel
slightest, effect on me. So.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if when the light novel author was like, okay, I'm going to do this story, right, and this is the whole situation. I want it to be a romance and things like that, and I want it to be super dramatic. I would not be surprised at all if they were thinking, but what about that eternal issue of just why don't they get together, before the end of the series, right? And it's what if I made it so that the characters specifically had flaws and things that went super deep, that made it so that it's like when this kind of situation comes up where there are where they like each other and stuff, they can't. They actually just can't.
Yeah. And that seems to be the entire drama right there. It's just...
And
no, these characters have all kinds of issues that are not going to let this happen. And that is most, I would say, romances and romantic dramas and stuff like that.
But it's done to an
extreme degree.
It's done to an extreme degree in this one in kind of a meta way, and there are varying levels of satisfaction that I have with other romances when they do that. Whereas in this one, it was made very clear from very early on in the show that Hachiman, no, he's got a ton of issues that he needs to solve way before he can ever even think about any kind of romantic relationship.
Yeah, and when that romantic relationship comes, you'll realize how much more you are excited about the character growth that these people went on, rather than
who ended up with who.
Or whether or not we get to see a certain amount of their relationship, post confession.
Right.
So I'm really happy about this. I'm really excited about not just this story being one that I can recommend to people, but about rewatching it, because it's weird. I couldn't tell you really right now, honestly, who my favorite characters are. Oh. I'm experiencing such a euphoric sense of just that I'm in love with all the characters right now.
Yeah, I feel like it could be easy to say Hachiman, but he's the main character, so there's that, and one that goes to show that you're doing a good job, because that's a lot of times that's not the case with a main character.
Yeah.
So
there were some funny little scene moments in this episode specifically that felt very meta about this being the end of the show and the end of
Yukino being like, there's still so many things to wrap up,
Right.
It's like,
we got that. That was funny. And then Hachiman's a little bit at the very end, where he's just like, oh wait, oh no, this was predictable. Like,
oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, okay. Another like sequence of moments with that was when you have all the guys sitting in the sauna, and you're like, wow, this is such a needless scene.
Yep.
This is literally here just to have all the guys be basically naked. That is wonderful.
Well, and also to have to so that we can see these other side characters outside in perspectives on the relationship dynamic between Yukino and Hachiman.
Right.
And it's no, we all agreed to not, pester him about it and stuff, and they're just like, yes, and Hachiman's like, wait.
Well, no, I got that. But just look at the way the episode just suddenly grinds to
let's go to a sauna.
With no, you don't understand. This is worker benefits. One's nerves will be rejuvenated, relaxed. And what he's basically doing here is he's using his skills as an orator, just a speaker, to passionately entreat Yukino to take this seriously, and she can't tell whether this is
sweat on her face
whether
and
this
everything.
is like pure bullshit or if she's just like, I like this, because her eyes say, what the fuck? What?
Right.
But Sure.
Right.
All right. Whatever you say, buddy.
You're really trying to work the angle that, we've confessed to each other and stuff.
Right, so you can, like, pull my chain, basically.
Right.
And then, yes, it's are you guys, like, dating or something? But everyone's, like, dead silent. And
Zamakusa's like, no. Yeah.
But I love that it's basically, in some ways, the one time we kind of get Hayama and Hachiman kind of together in this regard.
And Hayama is in a very not entertained way.
Yeah.
It's just like, don't ask him that.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Silent. That's why y'all agreed to just watch over them, right? Like you say, he's like, wait, what's this? I want to die. And, it's primarily a scene change into what comes next here. And this bit here was extremely
with the three girls and Hachiman. Yeah.
Three girls on the bench. You can tell their end game potential based on the, order in which they sit. They each kind of step up and say goodbye and kind of soak in the moment, though.
I was almost confused why Iroha was there because,
she's one of their big, partners in crime.
Totally,
so
yes,
she
right.
Needs
so
to be there.
Right, there's in-universe reasons for her to be there in the scene for sure. But the main meat of the scene is Yukino and Yui, right? And we get to see them, Yukino leaning on Yui's shoulder and everything, just like in the ED. It's like, okay, all right, yep. And then of course, the hand being offered.
And this did feel like, to me, this felt like the end of what probably was like a light novel chapter or something like that, or a big like part in that, because you have them kind of just sitting there soaking in this moment, and they're like, well, we can't sit around here forever. We need to end this.
Right, and the two of them both move on ahead, Yeah,
exactly. And they move on and leave Yukino and
Hachiman
together, which is a very common thing that friends will do when you can tell that the new couple is, enjoying each other's time together. But it's like, give them space, Yeah. And then they set up the whole, reaching out, holding the hand. Mm-hmm. And I love that line. Like, this could have been the end of the series for me.
Yep.
This was such a really good bit, like that they didn't need. This segment rest of it necessarily. The rest of it was just so good because we got the Yui.
Right. I would say the Yui thing was definitely a necessity, but but this scene could have been just like removed and then like placed at the end, and it totally would have worked. Totally would have worked. Yeah. But of course I love the way the Yui scene was the final bit,
and also using it as foreshadowing for the
Hiratsuka moment.
Hiratsuka moment, or a parallel for the Hiratsuka moment of where we can use it as a framing to show how it's different because it's Hiratsuka. But
the favorite bit that didn't need to be in this episode, like it's the whole didn't know that I needed this until it happened, is the Komachi and Iroha interactions, because like that a creative is really good at what they do when they're like, okay, I have all these things set up. Now, what's the thing that I haven't even really like foreshadowed or anything like that? It's just and it doesn't need to happen. Nope. But
this thing is
it's too good to pass up.
Yeah, so I should take this
has never happened, right? Yeah. And
it's Komachi and Iroha have never met. They have never seen each other.
And now they're going to be going to the same school together. You know, and it's like, yeah, I just...
And I also love that it's just also like combined with the bit where Iroha's like, hey, in 3 years you'll be able to drink, and this guy loves to take responsibility. So
my God.
Do something and regret.
And then Yui's like, I can drink in 2 years.
No. Komachi notices that.
That's right.
Komachi's like, hold on, she can drink in 2 years. When you say 3 years, are you talking about you? And it's like, busted.
I love it.
Oh my God. And that little bit where you can tell, she definitely strings out the whole, Hayama thing to use as not just necessarily what could be the truth.
Why give up a good shield?
Right. It's a really good defense tool. Yeah. Misdirect. But but then also getting a little bit of an endearment thing for her, because girls get the special privilege to never ever give up, and it's just like, oh yeah. And then Komachi just with the hey,
and then the establish a pecking order right after Komachi does that, and it's I love it.
The banter here is too strong. It's like, I thought it was necessary that she would either pull him in or push him forward. But I stand corrected. He does have the capability of just having trash taste too. That is possible. Mm-hmm. And then she's just like, wait, what? You know,
was that a jab at me? Wait, hold on. Like, was I just insulted or complimented? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you just admit that? You know,
I have a chance,
he might like me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. For a second, she was just like, not only like, wait, what? But also like, wait, you said that there's a possibility.
Yeah. And yet at the same time, if you're lumping me in with the same kind of descriptive word for Hachiman,
yep,
which obviously she doesn't truly believe that her brother is trashy. She says that out of love, right?
Right, yeah, of course.
So if you're also saying that about me by extension, then does that
mean that we have
that you actually
friends?
Right? Did we just become best friends?
Did you just see through my entire personality? Like,
right, just no
like
big
that?
deal. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. And you seem kind of okay with that.
Right. And
this is all. Wait a minute.
And in the time span from the prom to when they show up at the club, Komachi or Iroha thought about all of that and just, let it cycle in her head, and they reach some kind of understanding. Oh man, that was just great fun.
But y'all, we gotta say goodbye.
We do.
We gotta say goodbye.
Oh man.
Oregairu. It's been real. It's been real good. So yeah. Thank you all so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the first episode's reaction to the next show that we'll be reacting to after this, Wonder Egg Priority, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.